Hey guys, and welcome back to Runway from the Rav, a Project Runway podcast. My name is Riley.
And I'm Maggie.
And today we'll be discussing Season 16, Episode 5, Descending into Good and Evil. So, the theme this time was that they were at Lyndhurst Castle, and their task was to create an evening wear look, and you either had a good look or an evil look. Mm-hmm. And they, the sponsor this time was Descendants 2.
Just a Disney movie.
A Disney movie based off the descendants of, fairy tale couples, I guess. And the, people there for that were Dove Cameron and China Ann McClain.
Yeah.
And so this is, the second, I think, in a row, or near to it, of, kids movies.
Yeah.
Unrelated kids movies in Project Runway. I guess because they think it's, their target audience is probably, moms.
I guess, yeah.
Take your kids to see this movie. I mean, I like Disney, and I liked the idea of this challenge. I liked the castle. I wish we got to see more of the castle, or that they were, inspired more by the castle than just...
They could have had a castle runway.
Yeah, why didn't we have the runway on the castle, or something to use Lyndhurst Castle, which is beautiful, but instead they, got 30 minutes to sketch, and half of them chose the Rose Garden. They didn't even go inside. What did you think of the challenge?
It was alright. I mean, I feel old. I did not know those actresses.
I've never heard of them. I didn't know there was a Descendants 1, let alone a Descendants 2.
Yeah, exactly. I looked it up and I'm like, huh, that's why.
I did used to watch a show called Once Upon a Time.
Yeah.
Which is kind of, I'm not up with it anymore, but I watched the first several seasons of that, and that's fairy tale people in the real world, or modern day.
It's pretty good.
I liked it. I kind of got, petered out, but The Descendants 2, maybe it's the same thing. I don't know. It's a movie. Probably in theaters soon. Now.
Probably.
So, after they kind of learned the challenge, Michael, who won last week, got to hand out the good versus evil. So he gave himself evil, and then he handed out good versus evil, and everybody seemed pretty happy with it. Sometimes this is a drama starter, and they're like, oh my gosh, they get, the one where they had to give out, the Red Robin tuxedos.
Yeah.
I remember that was a lot of drama of people being like, I got the worst one. But this one, everyone seemed fine with good versus evil. And then they got $300 at Mood, and then this was our first 2-day challenge.
Yep.
Which feels early for a 2-day challenge, which I love. I prefer the 2-day.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they used to have those more often, so that was good. So, moving into at Mood, we got to see Swatch running up the stairs looking healthy. Yeah. The last few episodes, he's been, sleeping. Last season, he was, barking. He wasn't happy. He wasn't having it.
Yeah.
But this time, he's running up the stairs. He's Swatch forever.
Yeah.
Otherwise, at Mood, not a lot. People going after fabrics. Kenya picked a really expensive fabric that she liked but didn't have a lot of yardage. That comes up again and again throughout the workroom.
Yeah.
Do you have any mood highlights?
No, I don't remember it at all.
Good.
So it wasn't memorable to me.
It usually isn't. I usually just look out to see, what's my Swatch moment of the episode. Mm-hmm. And then if anybody's having, a real struggle with fabric. Because sometimes people can't find the color they want. But moving into the workroom, the good folks were on one side and the evil folks were on the other. So this is the first time the twins have been fully separated. And as one of them said, when Tim walked in, there's a chasm between us. Because they can't even have that be a normal, yeah, we're on opposite sides, a chasm. But that didn't stop them from constantly yelling to each other and running around the room. My favorite part of the episodes now is watching Kenya's face.
I screenshotted it. Be on the lookout on our Instagram for that little screen cap.
Yeah.
It'll be coming someday.
Someday soon. Coming to you soon. Probably by the time this podcast is uploaded. But her face watching them run around, and she just gives a look or a little sigh. And then her talking head moment is about it. And I'm just that would be annoying to have people literally running around. We've seen them trip and slide and fall. Although this time, a lot of people were helping people. So obviously Sean and Claire, but Margarita even brought them in to look at her piece. And then all three of them went and looked at Claire's piece. Claire really, really struggled. She got good. And she seemed to really struggle with the top of her garment. So she had Sean look at it. She had Tim look at 2 different versions. Margarita look at it. We also saw Brandon and Kentaro They're really forming a bond. They're calling each other brother now, which is so cute. And they both think that, like, each other's their, like, highest competition. But, like, they're still working together, but they're not... I don't know. It's not like in seasons past, sometimes people will become friends and then they, like, talk each other up and they, like, don't think it's a competition anymore, or, like... So there's... I don't know. It's nice to see, like, a positive kind of bond. But they were helping each other out. I think Michael ended up helping Aaron, who was struggling a lot. Yeah. He made his piece first in muslin, and he's like, this is how I prefer to work. Everybody here just gets into the final fabric. He's like, we have 2 days. So he made like 3 muslin pieces, and by the end, he was so out of time that, like, Michael was helping him cut and stuff. So I know a lot of people have had issues with the twins helping each other. I also find it to be unfair sometimes. They're siblings, they're twins. It's a little different than, like, oh, this is my friend. But, like, this season, a lot of people have been helping other people. Yeah. Like, Michael was literally cutting things out. We've had other seasons where friends were helping each other sew. Like, Keeney helped people sew, even on All-Stars, because Keeney, stand-up guy.
Lightning fast.
And he's the fastest sewer, apparently, Project Runway's ever known. Let's see, other things in the workroom. The 2-day challenge was nice. So there was still a lot of frantic, last-minute things, because that's just the way of Project Runway. But people seem to use it. I feel like we saw some better looks this week because of it.
I agree.
Do you have any workroom stuff?
I didn't write anything down about the workroom, so I suppose not. I mean, really, you said it. It was Kenya's face. Yeah. I just screenshot that so I can remember forever.
Well, I just remember, like, a couple episodes ago, Kutsunai was like, stop putting me by the twins, like, producers, like, let me sit somewhere else. And then, like, Kenya's, like, in the brother's sewing room, sewing her garment. We saw a lot of her struggling with the amount of her fabric, and struggling to put it on, like, a taller model. But, like, Sean and Claire, like, running around, Kenya's just sewing, but, like, with this face that was, like, that's me all the time. That's my approach to life, is that face.
Well, and Riley and I come from an open office. I mean, not me anymore, but we spent 2 years stuck in this open office together. Riley's still there.
Don't remind me.
We know the pain of people running around you, doing whatever they do. Yeah. People things.
Well, you're trying to do, like, heads down creative work, and people are running around screaming. And the hardest part about Project Runway probably is they don't even get to listen to music. And their only place that they can, like, get away is, like, the kitchen area, which we saw this episode. I don't think we've seen that much. And I should mention, Margarita got a call from her parents.
Oh, yeah.
I was super hyped for a conversation in Spanish with, like, subtitles, but no, her and her parents spoke English, which is fine, but I just really I don't know. I like the kind of multicultural feel that the most recent seasons of Project Runway have had. Like Laurence last year and Roberi and everything. Like, I just like to hear different languages. It was nice. Kentaro's model. I can't remember her name, Misha, or I can't remember. It starts with an M. But she speaks Japanese and has said that she had visited there. So that was nice to hear them, like, speaking Japanese to each other a little bit. I just like that that's the world, that's fashion, you know, so I kind of liked to see that. Otherwise, if you don't have anything else, we can move on to the runway.
Yeah, let's move on.
I will warn you, I've got a lot of quotes this week. Okay. Got a lot of quotes. Okay, so it'll be a faster runway this time because we are whittling these folks down. So, first up, and this time, our guest judges were Dove Cameron and China Ann McLean, and Heidi dropped multiple times that one or more of you may be eliminated, and this is the first episode she said that.
Yep.
We'll get to if that actually came about or not, but that was just interesting, because it feels like sometimes they don't mention the Tim Gunn save, or sometimes they don't mention that they could eliminate. Almost every season lately has had at least one double elim. Okay, so first up down the runway was Sean, and she was evil. And she put down a halter dress that was like half like a drapey dark eggplant color, with like a lighter fabric. And then it was a half short black leather dress. And she kind of combined it by like wrapping the front. What do we think of Sean's?
To me, this one was just okay. I mean, I like the colors. It's definitely red as like evil. And I like the textures that she had going, but to me, like, I don't know, it wasn't anything that, like, wowed me. What did you think?
This is definitely my favorite piece Sean has made so far.
Okay, yeah.
And I get evil from it. I like that it's like half and half. And I think sometimes you see half and half stuff and it just doesn't work. Like neither half looks good. But here I like both halves. I would like to see both halves as a full dress, but I like it half and half. It kind of works for me half and half. So I'm not the biggest fan of Sean, but I do like this. Mm-hmm. But like you said, it's nothing, it doesn't wow me, but I like it. And she was safe, which I agree with. That's a good safe piece. Mm-hmm. Next up was Kentaro, who is really struggling with the judges saying you use too much black.
Yeah. And
he's really bounced now to be like, never use black at all. And I'm like, dude, Laurence used black in probably like 12 of her 14 looks. Like, just make whatever you want. So he made like this kind of, I can only describe it as like slouchy, like white and pink dress with like this off-shoulder kind of slouchy top. And then like with a camisole underneath. And then like this like kind of flowy skirt with like bits of like, I don't know if it's tulle or whatever it is, like a sheer fabric and like little pink. And it was just kind of really flowy. But what'd you think of Kentaro's?
To me, this was another one where I just wasn't wowed. Like, maybe I just don't get it. I don't know. I think it's much better than what he had going in the workroom. Because I think in the workroom, that was when he had, like, 2 pieces of fabric, like, up on the top of it that were, like, just slightly different colors. And Tim was like, well, this looks like a mistake because the color difference is not strong enough. Mm-hmm. And so I was kind of worried about him when he was in the workroom. So I feel like he definitely turned it around, but to me, I don't know. What do you think?
The top looks like she, like, got her arm ripped. Like, the arm of her dress ripped, or, like, she got in a fight. The bottom I like. It's kind of flowy. It's a little youthful, but the pink is so light. And I don't know if it's white or cream. It's hard to tell on TV sometimes, but, like, it's so close to that light pink. I get what Tim was saying. Like, it looks very, like, ethereal, but it's just, the top is just, it seems, I don't know. It's just not very developed. I don't, yeah. It looks like it's a mistake. Like, it slipped off or something. Next up, but he was safe.
And one more note on that. As it was going down, Amy was like, oh, this is beautiful. You're going to be in the top.
Yeah. I know they filmed that part a couple times. Like, they filmed their reaction, and then they filmed the judges' reaction and, like, crop it together. But sometimes, yeah, what they say to each other, or when they're like, oh my God, I love it. And it's just like, okay. I know that sometimes the model and the runway experience can transform a look. I know it saved several looks on this show, this season alone, by having like a good model walk it out. Mm-hmm. But this one just, to me, it just was a dress. I don't know. Okay. But he was safe. Next up, we have Margarita. And she made the patterned, it almost looks like polka dots, black V-neck dress with an empire waist. And then, like, black feathers on the shoulder. And then it was kind of ruched along the side. And I think it had, like, a leg slit.
Yeah.
Way high up. What do we think of this one?
To me, the dress was, like, it was fine. It was alright. It was completely safe. But that model, her walk, like, her poses at the end, the leg slit, I'm like, okay, I'm feeling this.
You could
like,
tell the model liked it.
Yeah, like, and she said this was, like, the first one where she felt like it was actually showing her body and, like, actually flattering.
Yeah.
I liked the model better than the dress. I guess that's my take on it.
I agree. This, we'll get to it later, but this looks like the knockoff version of another designer's on this. Like, that will come later, Michael's piece specifically.
Yes.
But I mean, it's fine. It's not a lot going on.
No.
A deep V empire waisted dress with feathers on it, okay? She was evil, by the way. Kentaro was good. I think I forgot to mention that. Okay, so next up we had Brandon, and he was good. And he put down this, like, striped pink, kind of like, I don't know, like smock dress. Like suspender dress thing with like a white crop top. I'm calling it a crop top.
I mean,
that's all he does.
I don't know what you call that.
The back is very crop toppy. The front is very high up.
Yeah, like it wouldn't cover the breasts.
And then it has extremely long sleeves that he put like a bell sleeve on the end by tying different color like strips of fabric, like ribbon.
Yeah, like from the like jumpsuit thing, dress, whatever.
Yeah.
It's not a jumpsuit, but
the smock, as someone called it. What do you think of Brandon's?
I don't get it. Am I not fashion forward? the answer to that. But I just...
She says wearing denim and flannel.
No shame. But, like, it's very Brandon, but I don't get it. I don't get it at all. What did you think?
I think I would like it if it didn't have the white crop top thing. If that was just part of the dress without the long sleeve, but I'm just like, how many times... Granted, it's not identical to what he's put down before, no. But it's... And I get that this is obviously his style. But the way the judges react to it makes me feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Because when I look at this, I see like a plain striped like dress without a lot of stuff to it. And then what just looks like a straitjacket that he hacked up. I'm like, didn't he just put down a straitjacket like a week or like last week or the week before? Am I taking crazy pills? I'm with you. I don't get it. I don't hate it. No. I wish the white thing was, I don't know. I wish it was either longer in the front or didn't have a front at all or did something else. I'm also really sick of the crop top thing with him. And these long, weird straitjacket sleeves. He's lucky his model looks like she's having fun in it.
Yeah, she.
And the judges are just eating this up. It's like last season with Erin. Like, I liked a couple of her pieces, but otherwise I was like, I don't get it. And the judges were like, oh, it's fashion. And they make the same face when this comes down. And I guess, like, in high fashion, it's like the Emperor's New Clothes or something, where he's naked, but everybody's like, yeah, you look great. This is great. Because they don't want to be the one who's not fashionable. So they just make crazier things. And they're like, yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's high fashion.
Okay.
It's not my kind of high fashion, but
he
was chosen for critique in the top, of course.
Yeah, obviously.
Next up we have Samantha, and she was really excited about this challenge because at one point I think she said that she really liked Disney movies and escaped them a lot as a kid, and that she had no shame of proclaiming that. And as a fellow Disney movie lover, and who is not the target audience for Disney movies, I'm right there with you, Samantha. Unashamed. So she put down, it's hard to describe the top because she made multiple layers, but she has like a green pattern top with like a black, like meshy top with like an orange stripe down the front in the pattern, that she did a lot of like ornate work with, and it has 2 gold zippers up the front. And then at like the knee or just above the knee, it becomes just like this black sheer ruffled thing down to her feet. Yeah. Like a curtain from like the knee. I don't know what fabric that is, but it's like multiple layers of like ruffled black thing. How'd we feel about Samantha's?
This one, honestly, like when it was coming down the runway, I didn't think it was that bad. I thought it was okay. But then once they showed it close up, I was just like, not as good. But I don't know. It was very Samantha. I didn't absolutely hate it, but I don't know. I knew it would either be safe or bottom. What do you think?
It does feel very Samantha, except for the bottom part. I would just rip that off.
Yeah.
And just leave it as like a slinky little like strapless dress. I think she always seems to use zippers. I think she could go further with the zippers. But this just looks like a disaster waiting to happen. It's strapless. The model's tugging it up, which tells you it's got poor fit, even though it was custom designed for this model. And then 2 zippers that work, so you could just unzip this poor girl.
Yeah.
She was evil. And it does feel dark. And her styling of the model is pretty cool with like a high bun and like this big necklace. Yes. And the model's like collarbones and shoulder blades lit.
I wrote that down too, that I like the styling.
But the fit issues around like the middle, you can see it's all like kind of like puckered and rippled. I'm like, this is a custom, this should fit her like a glove. The design of this dress is supposed to be super tight. And it just, I don't know. When she walked, it didn't look very good. And then the bottom is just unresolved.
And like the textures, whatever she had, like that mesh or whatever.
There's a lot of layering. It's hard
on the
to
top,
tell.
like it made it kind of heavy and like too much.
Yeah, and I think that's what added to the poor fit.
Yeah.
Next up, she was chosen for critique in the bottom, and I think this is the first time Samantha's even gotten critique. I think she's always been safe.
Yeah.
And she made like this pink satin kind of maxi dress, the deep V in the front and a deeper V in the back. kind of stringy at the top, strappy, I should say. And then she made like this like silver cape jacket, but then like the back had like multicolors, like right in the middle of like a ruche slit. Mm-hmm. How'd we feel about Amy's?
I really hated it. Girl, this was not my favorite at all. Honestly, I thought it was horrible. I didn't feel like the dress was constructed well. It didn't look like it fit very well. And the cape was just like, ugh, it's just like a ton of freaking fabric everywhere. And then like
with like no sleeve.
Yeah.
And then a random multicolored slit in the back that was suggestive.
Yeah. What did you think?
I thought this looked like something that should have been in last episode. To me, the pink satin dress looks like a nightie.
Yeah, okay.
And we just had, like, the sleepwear challenge, and then this looks like sleepwear. This model's styling as well literally looks like someone, like, rang the doorbell at 3 a.m. She just got out of bed, put on this, like, weird silver cape thing, and it's like, what do you want? I don't know why they keep working with satin either. Satin puckers so bad, and I get you have 2 days, but, like, it doesn't look like it here. It looks rushed and puckered.
Yeah. So I saw this on her Instagram the other day. She was talking about this piece. She said, I don't remember her saying this on the show, but she had written this on her Instagram, that her intention was that the pink represents like the princess and the gray represents the castle. So this is supposed to literally represent a princess in a castle. Your thoughts on that little story?
Stunned silence. I'm glad it's not super literal, because like I think we had an avant-garde challenge a couple seasons ago where someone literally made like a bridge out of like a brick skirt that looked like a wall. I guess she could have done that with the jacket here. It isn't super obvious that that's what she was going for, but the sad thing is I've liked what Amy's made in the past. Like I really liked her convertible like jumpsuit thing. Like, and the more I think about that in retrospect, the more I like it. This I just dislike, and it feels like if you would have made it last episode, it would fit. But here, no, it doesn't look very good. She was safe though. Next up we have Botany, and she made a navy gown with like a black lace neck and sleeves. And then, like, this really voluminous skirt with, like, black panels. And then the midsection has, like, I don't know if it's beads or what, but it's got, like, beads kind of coming down. And then there's more lace, like, at her side. So it's got, like, cutaway panels with more lace. Mm-hmm. What do we feel of this one?
To me, this one was just okay. I thought it was really weird, just a sidebar, that, like, Botany had no coverage this episode.
For the last
I don't recall seeing her at all.
No, we got a lot of coverage of her when she made, like, her, like, butterfly dress. And then last episode and this episode, literally nothing in the workroom or any other time.
No.
And she's got such, like, a cool personality and cool personal styling. I'm like, could we get slightly less of people complaining about the twins and showing the twins, and maybe show some other people in the workroom? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. This one, I felt like it was perfectly safe, but if she wants to stay, she's got to amp it up. What do you think?
I liked it. I could see somebody wearing this. Mm-hmm. I really like the lace kind of part of it. The gown part, not so much. The midsection seems really unresolved, but her model has a really cool, like, orange haircut, like bob, and I think that, like, saves it a bit for me, instead of, like, an updo or something.
Yeah.
But she was just safe.
Yeah.
Next up we had Claire, and she put down, like, this, like, really, really light, like, violet purpley dress with, like, one sleeve, and then, like, the sheer, like, kind of flowy bottom over white shorts.
Yeah.
What do we think of Claire's?
I don't get the shorts. They keep trying to make shorts happen.
The twins love shorts. Probably because they come in a pair.
Oh, oh my god. Yeah, this one, not my favorite. You could tell that she struggled with it.
But she struggled with the top. But to me, the bottom also feels not ready.
The whole thing, yeah.
After 2 days.
Yeah, there's not a lot there for having 2 days, and then, I don't know. I think it seemed like she just wasn't happy with her fabric choice, and then that just kind of cursed her the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she could not overcome that and figure out how to work with it. Because she was, like, complaining about, like, she didn't like the colors that she'd chosen. She thought it looked, like, too bright, I think.
Because she had quite a few, like, pinks and purples and stuff, but she narrowed it down to be just one after her critique with Tim.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think one of the judges said it looked like a prom dress.
Yeah.
Except for the shorts, and I agree. And then she also, her model was styled with, like, curly hair, which is pretty, but it's down, so it just makes her look younger. Like, and it looks like a prom hairdo.
Yeah.
Like a modern day, like, more girls wear their hair down. So to me, I'm just like, yep.
Yeah.
Nothing special. She was chosen for critique in the bottom. Next up, we have Ayana, and she put down this, like, white lace dress. The top was, like, white lace, and then it had, like, this tiered, like, tan, brown, and then olive, like, striped tiers bottom that she sewed, like, white mesh over top. And then the model did have, like, a brown, like, head scarf. What do we think of Ayana's?
This one's not my favorite. I really didn't like the mesh that she used. Like, the whole bottom, I was just like, ugh.
I think it would be worse without the mesh, though.
You think?
Well, Tim was like, what would it look like with the mesh over it? And I thought it looked a little better, but it doesn't look good either. It looks like she got caught up in something.
Yeah, and I don't like the color palette she chose. I think it's kind of ugly. But
Well, she got good as well, I believe.
yeah.
But, like, olive and brown don't feel super good to me in this context of, like, fairy tales. I like the top, though.
Yeah.
I wish she'd just done all that, but then they'd probably be like, you can't put down a wedding dress. Because anything white lace is a wedding dress. But she was safe. And then last, we had Kenya, who put down, like, I'm going to describe this as ox blood. Like, suit. It looks like crushed velvet or something, but I don't think that's what it was. I think it was satin again, but it looked like, she described it as seaweed. And I agree.
I don't know. Yeah. It was like something that kind of had like a crinkly texture to it.
But like a slightly stiffer fabric. And she, with that, she made like an oxblood suit, like tuxedo, with an open back. And then it had like this black ruffle detail at the neckline and then on the sleeves. And then it had like really tight, like cigarette, like slim pants, but like tuxedo pant with like a black panel on the side. What did we think of Kenya's?
This one, I mean, I can appreciate the look, but it's not for me. To me, like, this one reads costumey. Like, I don't see anyone, like, wearing this, even as, like, a high fashion thing. Like, I just see pirate, like, with the black and the red, like, the ruffling. Like, I don't know. That's just what I see. It reads costume to me.
I agree. I think if the black was, like, the black ruffle on the sleeves was white, she would have been on the bottom or out. Because that would have looked so much like Captain Hook or something. Yeah. I liked the idea a lot that she made a suit instead of a dress. I really like that.
That was cool.
And I think the pants are flawless. I like the cut of the top. Like, her construction is so good. But it's like ruffle, peplum, like tuxedo pant, and then this crushed fabric, and then all the ruffle. And I just regret the ruffle, okay? Bringing back Cha-Cha from episode 1, like, if it was just at the neck, I think I'd be okay.
Yeah.
But it being like these like 3 ruffle bell sleeves with a peplum top is too much ruffle.
And then you got that open back too.
And then the open back, which is super cool. And I would have just left it at that and made like a 3/4 sleeve or made like really cool, like feminine, like kind of cuffs and then made like a cool cuff link. But I think she just ran out of fabric to do a full arm, to be honest. Because she struggled with that fabric. They didn't have a lot of yardage. I wanted to like this more than I did.
Yeah, I agree.
So she was chosen for critique in the top. And that left us then with the top was Brandon, Michael, and Kenya. And the bottom was Samantha, Claire, and Aaron. And turned out that the winner was Brandon. How do we feel about that?
Disagree.
Yep. Especially since I feel like he won for a similar look.
Yeah.
recently. Obviously, he didn't win last episode. Michael did, but it just looks so similar to another piece that he made that I'm like, is he already making his final collection?
Probably.
I think I would have gone with Michael for sure.
I am definitely Team Michael.
Yes. But so Brandon won, and that means that Michael and Kenya were safe. I would have liked to see it go to Michael or Kenya, even though I didn't love the suit. I like that they were pushing it, that it didn't look like anything they'd made yet. Yeah. Whereas Brandon's is already looking like it. I get it. That's his style. He makes oversized things. He makes menswear, so he's going to make sleeves and things like that. But like, if I see another white straitjacket crop top item, they'll lose it. Gotta lose it. So that means we had the bottom then with Samantha, Claire, and Aaron. And it was really tense because Heidi was like, one or more of you will go home. And they're all just looking at her like, oh my God. And it turns out Aaron went home.
Mm-hmm. They sent him home first.
Yes.
Right off the bat.
Yeah, because that was pretty bad. And they really kind of ripped him up about it.
Mm-hmm.
I would say his garment he put down this week was as bad as his like see-through bloomers were last week. I liked Aaron's personality, and I liked most of his personal styling. The bloomers last week, no. Whatever he was wearing in one of his talking heads this week that was so low cut and his like hairy chest was out, not so much.
He pushes it.
Yeah, he pushes it. But I liked his like outfit for the runway this time. He looked like a little like stewardess or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that he kind of owns that like masculinity, femininity play.
Yeah.
And I like his personality. I don't think I've liked a single one of his looks.
No.
He made like weird oversized shorts like twice. He made that really weird dance thing with like one sleeve and one leg bigger.
Oh, yeah.
So he just has a like taste issue and like a proportion issue. But this was one of the worst things I've ever seen on Project Runway, and probably the most unfinished.
Yeah, I feel like, on the construction alone, that was kind of like almost a guaranteed.
Yeah. This was as ugly to me as like Kutsunai's piece, but then not even finished sewing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was a really tense moment. Samantha and Claire are standing there. Aaron leaves, and Heidi goes, Claire, you did blah, blah, blah bad. Samantha, you did blah, blah, blah bad. Mm-hmm. And they're both like, oh my, and I'm like, oh my God, Samantha was safe.
Yeah.
And then Claire's standing there. This was Claire's first time in the bottom. Sean's been in the bottom twice, but has kind of redeemed herself lately with her most two recent looks. Mm-hmm. Claire, however, I feel has been doing the opposite. But it turns out Claire also safe.
Yep. So
they tease this like double a limb.
Mm-hmm.
Tricky judges.
It's a threat.
Yes. And I think Samantha's the one who said, like, they're trying to scare us, and definitely they were. But Claire, like, when they were like, Claire, you're safe, she just was like, thank you. And she's like, I'm not going to grovel, or blah, blah, blah. I'm like, there's a difference between groveling and respectfully being like, thank you, I'll take your, like, critique into next week and do better. Yeah. Like, there's one thing, like, let me stay, thank you, and being like, and still being, like, gracefully like, thank you, I really appreciate your critique, I'll try harder next week. Mm-hmm. There's graceful ways to do it either way. Indeed. So yeah, just one out, and that was Aaron. But otherwise, do you have anything else about those decisions? Would you have liked to see Claire or Samantha go this week?
No. I mean, I don't know. I thought, my opinion is that Amy should have been in the bottom.
Yeah.
I thought her piece, I think I would have put it lower than Samantha's. And I probably would have had Claire, Amy, and Aaron.
And then you would have sent Aaron and Amy?
No.
Just Aaron still?
Probably still Aaron, because Amy has been making interesting stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, still interested in seeing more from her. Like, I don't feel like she's gonna make it to the end.
She's been really sneaking by safe in the background, but I feel like there's gonna be one challenge, and this was very close, where she's just gonna, like, screw it up and be gone.
Yeah, like...
And the judge would be like, we don't even know who you are. And she'd be like, oh, gone.
Yeah. Like, as we whittle things down, like, those kinds of things are gonna start to happen, so...
Yeah. Because, next time there's only, like, 10 of them left, so...
Yeah.
And we know there's likely to be a double a limb, because that makes an easy save to have, like, the 3 or 4 at the end. So we will come back to the next week on Project Runway, and we will jump to some quotes of the week. Got quite a few this time because the judges were brutal this week. Brutal.
They were.
And that's my favorite. I loved Michael Kors, and he could be brutal and hilarious in one comment, and I do miss him, but occasionally Zach and Nina, their powers combined, Wonder Twin powers unite to be Michael Kors. So let's just get through the quotes this week. So first we had Kenya in the workroom while she was struggling to make her 3 yards of fabric work, and she someone asked her how you doing, and she's like, oh, just trying to make $1 out of 15 cents. And I think I just liked the way she said it because it was upbeat, but also I'm struggling here, but it was in an upbeat way. She wasn't like, oh my god, I don't have enough fabric. Mm-hmm. And then I really like that line, trying to make $1 out of 15 cents. And I'm like, as a balling on a budget person, this is the daily life struggle for a lot of people, I think, trying to make $1 out of 15 cents.
Yeah, that's getting added to the little line bank.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that I'm going to whip that one out anytime someone's trying to make $1 out of 15. I loved it. I like Kenny a lot. Mm-hmm. Next up, Sean, when her look was coming down the runway and she had that half and half dress, she was like, for me, evil always resonates in leather. And I just liked that line. The twins always have such nice diction, but I really liked that because I agree. When I think of evil or darkness, I think of black leather is one of the top things.
Yeah.
And just the color black, and I think it's a little on the nose to make but she mixed the leather. No one put down just a straight black, probably because they only had $300, but I just like that. Resonates, and nicely said, Sean. Next up we have Lyris, who is looking at the piece that Michael had made after taking some of her feedback, and she was like, we're gonna make evil look so good. And then she did the crossbody snap. Oh, Lyris, I love it. The Naomi of plus size, as self-proclaimed. She just has attitude for days, and that's a little fun on TV. Mm-hmm. She's not making drama. She's not getting in anybody's business. She's just a diva, and she knows who she is. And if you're confident and you're good at what you do, who can fault you? Mm-hmm. And that was in her mirror confessional.
Yeah. Hashtag model mirror.
Hashtag model mirror. Next up, Heidi, talking about Brandon's look, said peekaboob. And I love it. Which we know Heidi loves to show skin. She obviously has an amazing body, especially for as she continues to age and get older. She still has a rockin' bod. Yeah. But the peekaboob, it happens at least once a season. Yeah. But nothing yet, I don't think, has quite slipped out. Although Aaron's garment was close, but his model was really clinching the arms. Yeah. Next up, Zach, about Samantha's look. Said, I don't like your fabric, it's just ugly. And that's maybe the most blunt thing I've heard the judges say in a very long time. Usually they're like, I don't like your fabric choice, but blah, 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 or you blah, blah, blah. But it's just ugly. It's rarely said on this show. So while I don't agree, I thought her fabric on the top was fine. The only thing I didn't like about Samantha's was the fit and the black fabric at the bottom. Yeah. But I don't like it. It's just ugly. Yeah. Zach posing. Next up, we had Dove Cameron about Michael's piece, and she said, you're not punishing us with these feathers. And I think I mentioned this earlier, I wasn't mad at these feathers.
No.
And frequently, just look a couple episodes ago at Kutsunai's piece, we were frequently punished with feathers.
Yes.
Feathers and fringe and ruffle are just in your face all the time, and it's anything they tack on at the end of a decent garment, and they're streamers, or feathers. I'm always rip it off, it's done. But I agree, Dove. I don't know who you are. It feels weird to call you Dove as a first name. But good makeup on her. I liked her makeup. Emerald green eye makeup was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Next up, we have Nina about Aaron's piece. It looks like a child put this together. This is Project Runway, not Project Kindergarten. Yes. Clap emoji. Yes. Nina.
Oh my god.
This was an embarrassment for Project Runway to have this look go down. It should be an embarrassment for Aaron. It was ugly, but it was also so poorly constructed that it was literally falling apart. Mm-hmm. And I get that he wanted to make it in muslin, but like 2 days is still not a lot of time. And it's not like they give you literally 48 hours to make it. You get like 8 hours and 6 hours or something. So it's like, really, you're probably on a 2-day challenge of Project Runway. You're probably getting at most 6 hours of extra time, probably more like 4.
Yeah.
You know, because they just do the runway in the afternoon instead of the morning. Next up we had Tim when he brought the models in for their close-up look of like the top and bottom models. And he said, we have the good, the bad, and the ugly, which is one of my dad's favorite movies. And I just love when Tim gets a nice zinger in there. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Next up, Zach, about Claire's piece. It really looks like a princess who got her credit card taken away.
I forgot about that.
And this was like the prom dress one that Claire made. Now, I have not seen Descendants 2, but I think Dove or China said that it was set in modern day, and I could see like a modern day princess, like this kind of looked like Cinderella to me, right? Like, would get their credit card taken away and be like, oh my god, I have to wear shorts under my dress. Like, I loved that statement so much.
I know. It made so much sense. It really did.
Because it was like a sad, droopy prom dress.
Yes.
Because she had to like buy it at JCPenney's instead of another store.
Oh, whoa.
Can I just say one
JCPenney's styling wall this season, Riley. Be careful.
I just want to say one thing. All the model shoes, normally I don't pay much attention to the styling, but all their shoes are like the barest, plainest patent leather pumps I've ever seen with like nice high fashion looks. And then it's like they get like one pair of like red kind of like strappy heels and then like the same. I'm just like, I just want the old style wall back. Like the jewelry's been okay. I think someone had like sunglasses at one point. I think they missed out. If you're going to have JCPenney's on the sleepwear, I'm still mad about the slippers. And I'll always be mad about the slippers. But, God, the boring high heel shoes just kills me. Yeah, an evil queen is going to wear, like, $29 pumps, please. Okay, next up, Heidi about Samantha's look. This may be the harshest thing I've ever heard Heidi say. Your dress had no element of fashion to it. Which I think is undeserved. But so harsh that I had to write it down. I disagree. I think that would be something you could say about Erin's piece, maybe. But to say that this has no element of fashion to it, when she literally last episode asked them to design night, like, sleepwear. Really?
Yeah.
So I disagree, but, like, Samantha's face when that was, like, oh, God. Harsh. Okay, and then my last 2 quotes are from Erin. I always like to usually quote, like, the folks as they're leaving. And I liked that Erin owned up to it. He said, I got eliminated because my look sucked. And a lot of designers are like, I still love the look. Even if it's, like, falling apart or off, they're like, I loved it. I'm proud of this. And sometimes they are and sometimes they aren't. But I like that he was able, even though he's very young, like, he was able to be like, it sucked. And I got eliminated for it. He wasn't trying to, like, save face or anything in that particular spot. And I'll give him props to that. And then as he was leaving, packing up his stuff, he's like, I have cool ideas, and you didn't get to see half of them. And I believe that.
Yeah.
While he didn't make anything I super loved, he obviously had a lot of kind of kooky ideas, which could make him, a pretty successful designer out there. So I hope he keeps doing it. And he had a fun personality either way. So, otherwise, next week, we saw that it will be the models as the clients. Mm-hmm. And I'm guessing that that's going to replace the Real Women Challenge.
Oh, I hope not. I mean, I guess I could see it, but we'll hold out. Maybe they'll bring their relatives on.
Yeah,
or something.
I always liked the Real Women Challenge, but because this season has had a range of different models and like sizes and everything, I'm thinking that with them being the client, which they've basically been every episode anyway, that's what they're going to go for. Like, but we'll see. It's still early in the season, so we'll see. Otherwise, do you have any closing thoughts?
No, pretty good episode.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good.
I wish they would have done a little more with the castle.
Yeah.
But, I hope that next season or next episode's like sponsor and like theme is something that isn't like a kid's movie or a Heidi Klum line. I want, to push it a little bit, but we'll see. And hopefully no one gets too tough of a client. We'll have to see how diva-ish Lyris and some of the other models can get.
Yeah.
I do like getting to meet the models.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not always 100% on like that the designers have to take their feedback, but I do like seeing the mirror just to see, like, it's interesting to see someone else's perspective on a look. So we'll see how that translates into next episode. We'll see if I still feel that way. I don't know. But otherwise, if you don't have anything else, I think that's it this week. And we will see you guys next week.